Set to go for weekend 3 of F1 Academy here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain, and the session is go. Hello everyone, welcome to practice for F1 Academy here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The green light is on for a 40-minute session. 15 drivers are taking part as well around the fantastic venue. That's a little bit of everything as well. Drivers heading out there onto the circuit as well, making sure that everything is A-OK. We were here just recently on JBMotorsports for MotoGP and the Spanish Grand Prix, the Catalan Grand Prix. Now we're here for Formula 1, the Spanish round of the championship. Jess Ball will be joining us later on for qualifying. She's just at work at the moment as well. But just the one practice session to get used to. Let's check in with our commentary team as well.
Fastest lap will be the grid for race 2. Now you can see beautiful sunshine, which looks a lovely place to be. We are due sun over the course of the weekend until Sunday morning. So race 2, potentially, we will be seeing rain. Alex, how tricky is it to prepare in practice when you're going to go out in one condition and then you've got a completely different set of conditions when you go out in the next race?
Yeah, luckily enough, several of the drivers will have driven this place in the rain. It's a circuit which is brought into so many junior series calendars, so they'll get a feel for it from their previous experience here. But obviously this car in wet conditions may well be something new for them. You can't go into being a meteorologist though as a driver this early in the weekend. You've got to drive the conditions you've got, try and prepare the car as best as you can, and then if it does rain on you, you've got to cross that bridge when you come to it, and that's what they'll all be looking to do. Abby Pulling there at the moment still sits in the lead of the championship, doesn't she? And we're having a look into the eyes then of Ferrari connected driver Maya Vuk.
Yeah, Maya Vuk, we've seen a fantastic performance from her so far, sitting P3 in the standings. She got on the podium twice in Jeddah, finished P5 and P6 last time out in Miami. But Maya Vuk was the first female to join the Ferrari Driver Academy. She also won that Rising Star program. So I think this, Maya Vuk has got a huge amount of potential here, and obviously it's a huge privilege for her to be wearing the red of the Ferrari, the prancing horse there. But one person we've been talking about a lot this season is, of course, Dorian Pan. She's sitting second in the standings at the moment. There is a bit of a points gap, 34 points between herself and Abby Pulling. She showed real dominance in those first 2 races, crossing the finishing line first, but was demoted, had a penalty after the second race because she crossed the finish line twice, crossed the checkered line twice. But I think Dorian Pan is very focused on trying to bring home a win this weekend.
Another driver coming back from injury, of course. Those fractured ribs taking her out, unfortunately, of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where she was aiming to be competing with the Iron Dames, operated by Iron Lynx, who, of course, are part of the ownership structure of Prima, for whom she drives here. It's a real interesting web, that setup, but it's great to see her back behind the wheel here, and she'll be looking, as you correctly say, Nikki, to come back at Abby Pulling, won't she, throughout this weekend, and try and swallow up some of that gap here at a circuit which will be more familiar. Pulling very much dominant in Miami, and Pan very much dominant in Jeddah, so it's sort of a round of peace between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely, and we were just seeing there Bianca Bustamante in the papaya of McLaren. There's a lovely feature on the F1 Academy YouTube site where we follow Bianca around the paddock, and she gives us the real insight into her race weekend, and do check it out. But the confidence that just oozes from her is quite incredible. You would never believe that she is just 19 years old, a Filipino racer who got in the car when she was just 3 years old. Quite phenomenal, and now is obviously the first female to be part of the McLaren development driver team. It really is an amazing journey that she shared alongside her father, who they kind of shared that bond when she was younger growing up. But here we are, we can see Hamda Al-Khabizi in the Red Bull racing car. Hamda actually had some great results here last time out, because of course F1 Academy has raced in Barcelona before. It was on the calendar last year. Emily de Hausch we should be keeping an eye on. She was in pole position in the first race and then went on to take the win. And it was actually Hamda's sister, Amna, who took the race to win.
Those of you wondering why the clock is ticking down and we're not seeing a lot of action out on track, it's typically high degradation around the Barcelona circuit de Catalunya. And as such, they tend to try to hold on to the tyre a little bit later into the session to give themselves a better feel how the car will feel in qualifying. It's also difficult to overtake here, so qualifying later on, all the more important. That's why we're seeing practice structures geared towards the qualifying effort rather than the race performance.
Yeah, and a reminder that the races are 30 minutes long each, and there is no pit stop. There's no tyre change, so if we do see a car go into the pits during the course of the race, that is probably a sign that there is a problem. Now, the cars that these drivers are battling it out with on track is effectively, it's an F4 car. It's a 1.4 litre engine Tartarus car. What kind of feeling would it be like to jump into an F4 car?
Yes, you've got 174 horsepower, very much momentum machine. You know, you've got to try and keep that minimum corner speed up. As you say, it is an augmented, a changed F4 car with several subtle changes to bring it into line for what the organisers were looking for this series. Top speed of 240 miles an hour, which there will be 240 miles an hour. I don't think so. 240 kilometers per hour. That would be an impressive. That would be an impressive lap. So we're looking down at Nerea Marti's machine, though.
We are in the Tommy Hilfiger liveried car. Now, Nerea Marti will definitely have a big smile on her face because she has been at a wedding recently, her own. Let's have a listen to an interview with her earlier in the weekend.
In the summer break, I got married, and my husband is here with me this weekend, the only race that he can come. So yeah, I will spend time with them and also with my parents that they are coming as well. So yeah, really emotional, really happy and excited because it's home race, family is coming, husband is coming, home race also for the team. So really emotional weekend for us.
Indeed, a big race weekend for her. Her husband is there supporting as well, so huge congratulations to Nerea Marti.
Marti, at this stage of the Series 6 in the championship, has taken a podium in the series. And we'll be looking for more points, if possible, on home soil this weekend. It's going to be a challenge for the drivers.
Omi's here as well. To say, sorry, we want to join, so hopefully the day goes well. It's going well so far. I've just sat down now in the commentary box, to be fair, as well, for the opener. So, no one's set an actual time yet in the opening 10 minutes as well. That's because it's about track acclimatization. It's the same what we're going to see in Formula 3 in around about 45 minutes' time. Megan and Jess will be here later on in the session as well. In the day for everything as well. Jess will be taking over F1 Academy. Megan's back with us for F1. I'll be with Jess for qualifying later on for F1 Academy. But you can see the time screen just alongside me. Dorian Pan is with us back this weekend after not being at Le Mans. You heard after she broke a couple of ribs. She's been declared fit to drive the F1 Academy cars, but not the Iron Dames GT3 that we had at Le Mans. But she's back this weekend and looking to take some victories. Not a great Miami. Really bad Miami for her, actually, as well. She was off the pace quite a bit as well. Abby Pulling having a tremendous weekend there, leads this championship. Tina Houseman in the Aston Martin livery now just coming through as well, through 7 and 8 up towards Kampsa at turn number 9 as well. So just having a little bit of a open. Is my mic going to work? There we go. I was wondering why my microphone wasn't working then as well. Hands are so dry up here in the commentary box as well. It's 8, is it 8 a.m? Yeah, 8 a.m. UK time, 9 a.m. over there in Spain. Track temperature 21 degrees, air temperature 21.7, so it's around about the same, 0.8% wind mile an hour as well. So just gradually building the day up. Oh, a little bit of smoke there from Dorian. As the lap times begin here at Catalonia. Let's head back over to the floor feed.
Evaluate how far they can potentially move these drivers through. Campos, of course, this weekend racing on home soil. Will be very much looking to take home spoils if they potentially can and move their way up that team's championship, which as this series progresses in terms of its prevalence and in terms of its driver number, these teams are going to be battling over bringing the best young drivers into their fold, if you like. So it is important for the teams to be doing a good job for these drivers and putting the best possible car underneath them throughout these weekends for their commerciality, if you like, into the future of not only this level but levels above.
Yeah, it's such a fantastic opportunity, finally giving, well, a global stage to these 15 drivers. I think a lot of them have actually been saying how incredible it is to be in the F1 paddock. I mean, what an experience. It's not just the on-track experience, it's the off-track experience as well, which just is invaluable to understand what goes on behind the scenes at an F1 race weekend, and also be used to all the media commitments. They've had a really busy week so far, lots of interviews going on, lots of media activities, which again is something that a lot of these drivers won't be used to, so it's a fantastic learning curve, and what a brilliant opportunity.
It was really interesting to read the interview, actually. It went up on the website with Leah Block earlier on in the week, where she basically said, yeah, I've raced a lot of cars, I've raced all over the place, but racing the F1 stage is different. I feel like there's so much attention on every time I get in the car, every time I turn the steering wheel, it changes the experience of racing. And I've seen firsthand how that's true. Some drivers just take off in that environment. Some drivers really struggle to deal with that pressure. And assisting Abby Pulling with dealing with that pressure will be Alice Powell there, Alpine connected driver of my era of GP3. And what used to be called GP3 now, of course, is known as the FIA Formula 3 Championship. And Alice there stewing Abby Pulling through this series, incredibly defensive of her performances and supportive of her strengths. Alice Powell, it's a really heartening combo, it's a really heartening alliance between the two of them.
And I mean, how valuable is it to have the person alongside you coming to all the races, giving you that extra intel, being there as a support when you're doing a series like this?
You know, sometimes it's just nice to have somebody to talk to, vent at.
I'm sure you had someone that would talk to you, Alex.
I used to be so lonely, you know. I used to
pass a petition.
No, it is. It's just nice to have somebody to vent at, because so much of the time you're in the paddock and you don't want to give anything away, you know, to your competition. You never want to appear downbeat. You never want to appear to vulnerable in any way in a motorsport paddock. And so to have somebody you can find a quiet place and just sit down with and go, actually, you know, finding this or that really tough. I'm not sure how to manage X individual in the team, and then they can give you an outside perspective. That counsel, if you like, can be truly invaluable to drivers, especially drivers of this age, where, you know, competition in general is a shock to a young person. They move through their schooling and into their early life, and all of a sudden the chips are down, if you like, and it can really be a shocking thing to convene with as a sports person of this age. That's really good.
We just saw there Bianca Bustamante, who actually was talking earlier in the weekend, that really credits her manager, Darrell O'Young, for all the support that she's had from him over the course of her career, and obviously had some great results in Miami on the podium for the first time on the calendar with the P2. So
Yep, And the times now is just starting to come through. We've got Chloe Chambers fastest on a 1:43.054. Amanda Alcabassi 1:43.106. Bianca Bustamante up to third. Holstead goes up into second position as well. I wonder why my timing screen isn't updating down into that one. So yeah, Tina Holzman up there. But yeah, hang on a minute. That's not working either. Is that lap time going to be deleted by the stewards then? No, hang on a minute. It's not just me, is it? Timing screen has glitched massively. So, I don't know which one's right. Amanda Alcabassi is in P2, but it was saying Tina Houseman's up there. Okay, anyway, there's Chloe Chambers. World feed pictures have glitched, I've been told. So yeah, just going wide, coming to the 7A chicane. There we go, back up now. Chambers, Amanda Alcabassi. Bianca Bustamante goes top, 1:42.833. So an improvement from her, moves up the order. Marty's on a good lap time. First and second sector is improving. Let's get his chirp a bit. Oh, there we go. Hang on a minute. There we go. So Marty's improving. Jess says, hey, I'm at work in the office listening to this in the background. Can't wait to join you later this afternoon for the session. Can't wait for you to be back, Jess, as well. Your Academy series is calling. Marty goes 1:42.699. Not going to lie, not running on very little sleep right now. Amanda Alcabassi goes top. Marty second. Bustamante in third, so just changing there at the moment. Marty's faster in sectors 1 and 2 compared to Bustamante. Amanda Alcabassi goes into 7th. Abby Pulling now goes 6th from last. Only 15, no wild card rider here this weekend in F1 Academy for a local. So just the one. 15 takes us to still 8 rows, but a little bit of a difference. Jess Edgar goes up into 4th, 1:43.125 as well. Jess says my sleep schedule is messed up currently. It is. It's all messed up. Actually thinking about going, as soon as everything's over this afternoon, going to bed. Just try and catch up on some sleep. It's been that type of day. JT can take practice 1 for Laguna Seca. And I'll take the rest of them for him. It's only radio, so you just got to put it on the timers one, really. So Holstead, 20 minutes to go then. Halfway through this F1 Academy practice session. Solo practice session. Some weekends I'll have 2. Some weekends I'll just have the single session, depending on where we are and depending on what's going on. Hello, SHT. On the YouTube chat. So Jess will be back for qualifying alongside myself. Or Megan, actually, depending on whether she's in the box for that one. And got touring cars. It's a busy weekend, actually. And NASCAR. The only good thing is that NASCAR is on before IndyCar, and then IndyCar takes us to the end of the night. Pulling. 1:42.474. Surprised that Jean-Mia is agreeing on your contract today with Repsol Honda. Just news not officially announced yet. I haven't heard that, but I'll trust you on that. I've heard the other news about Flavio Briatore. Just announced before we came on air. It's going to be one of our talking points in practice 1 in a couple of hours. Flavio Briatore is back in Formula 1 as the executive advisor to Alpine F1 team. So Flavio is back. We'll get all into that in practice 1 commentary later on, but right now let's have some news.
I would tend to lose my head a bit last year. I was up and down. My performance wasn't as stable, and that's what I lacked. And I wanted to be mature. I wanted to keep composed and to always improve. And to, I've changed my whole approach this year and work a lot with my sports psychologist alongside McLaren to make sure that I'm growing mentally and that I'm certain about myself and that I'm here because of what I can do, and I've got the support of a whole family and a whole team. So yeah, I think that's the main difference.
That was Bianca Bustamante.
Radiating positive energy there from Bianca Bustamante. Did you have a sports psychologist alongside you, Alex?
I did at times, yeah, I did. It's a very important part of motorsport, often sort of intrusive thought, especially in qualifying, when you're trying to put that absolute best lap together. The teaching that I needed was after I'd had the first sector, I started immediately to think about how that first sector went. And of course, you can't do that because you need to do the second sector. And as soon as you start to evaluate your own performance behind the wheel while you're giving it, it's kind of bizarre, in fact, in terms of where I've ended up now, realistically. But as soon as you try to evaluate your own performance while you're giving it, your performance gets worse. And that's what I needed to learn from a sports psychologist. But Samantha there saying she lost her head a little bit behind the wheel of a race car. You only ever drop in on these drivers when they are in action. What you forget is they sit around, they wait around, they build up to it all weekend long. They watch the other series, they watch the other categories, they talk through it, go through it in their mind, time and time and time again. It's so easy when you get out there on track to try to snatch your chance, snatch too hard and basically mess up that critical moment. It sounds like that's what Bustamante is learning this year.
It really is, and it looks like these guys are learning the track really quite well. You can see them getting racier and racier over the course of this session. Abby Pulling currently in P1 with a 1:42.47, and Hamna Al-Qubaisi 2/10. Now, the gap there is closing up. We've got a second between P1 and P10 at the moment, down to Nobles, but I'm sure those times are going to get closer and closer over the course of the next 16 minutes.
This is what we've tended to see, isn't it, in F1 Academy this year, early on in free practice, very young drivers getting their head around the racetrack, getting their head around the car and everything that they need to do to make sure that they can deliver the laps they need to. Also, they tend to run relatively early in proceedings, so the track tends to be quite dirty and difficult. As such, the bigger gaps at the start of the session then close up into qualifying. And by the time we get to the race, the pace is generally really quite equal, isn't it, across the sort of top 5 or 6 drivers. But it does take a few moments just for them to get into it. I think this is probably the closest first half of a practice session we've seen actually this year. 3/10 down to Bustamante, or 3.5 down to Bustamante in 4th, but then some other drivers also in the hunt as well. So I think this is probably going to be the closest weekend by the time we get down to it that we'll see throughout
the racing.
So at the moment, Abby Pulling fastest, and we must remember about Abby Pulling that in between the gap between Miami and here, she's been racing in the British Formula 4 Championship. That's on the support package for the British Touring Car Championship. And she won race 2 at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit, becoming the first female to win British F4 in over 30 years. So that is absolutely fantastic news. And she's coming here and taking it straight up as well in tides. Got taken out though by her teammate at Thruxton in the final race, but she managed to get back to the pit lane under the red flag, and they repaired the car, and she continued on, but the damage was too much on the restart. Look at those tyres already shredded on Bianca Bustamante. Racing with glasses. I love what she said, trying to be mature as well. From Bianca Bustamante, really one of the most problematic young drivers on the grid right now in terms of her social media attitude. Yeah, not really sure that's the best thing to say. But she certainly does have a talent. She's grown into it as well, actually. It was actually Bianca Bustamante here at Barcelona in F1 in W Series, where everyone thought that she didn't deserve the drive because she lunged up the inside turn 1, lost the track, cut across the chicane, then hit the same driver, exit turn 2 into the gravel trap. So yeah, she's improved a lot over the past 2.5 seasons. But pulling fastest, 1:42.703, Amanda Arcabasi, Nubia Marti, Bianca Bustamante, Jess Enken, that's the top 5. It's Kai Schreiner, 6th, Amanda Arcabasi 7th, Dorian Pan is 8th, Chloe Chambers 9th. Is it Pan or Pin? Still don't know. Dorian as well. Is in 8th, Chloe Chambers 9th, Aurora Nobles is in 10th, Leah Block 11th, Tina Houseman's 12th, Maya Wang is in 13th, Emily House is in 14th, and Lola Love and Fossey is down in 15th place at the moment. Yeah, I agree with you, SHT. Coming on there, maybe I should put the YouTube chat below me as well, but I didn't think about that. Back to the world feed. We're 12 to go.
The rear tyre through this final sector throughout the weekend. It's going to be an interesting challenge for them.
Now, coming into this practice session, what is the strategy? What do you need to achieve during the course of it? Is there a kind of tick boxing exercise between yourself and your chief engineer? What's going on?
So the team will sit together with all the drivers where they're based, and then they'll make a plan literally lap by lap for this session. The reason they need to do that is because you're not able to refill the cars with fuel in the session, so you need to know exactly which laps you plan to do and when. That run plan will have a focus, be it qualifying or race running. If it's qualifying, you tend to run later and wait longer. That gives you new tyres in the session, closer to the amount of fuel that you'll have when you go qualifying a little later on. If you're focusing on race running, you might choose to get out there and pound around the racetrack a little bit more, and then of course that will angle as well towards the setup that you run. Drivers will tend to take maybe a little bit of front flap out of the car for the race performance, just to try to keep that rear tyre under control. So how are you going to start the session in terms of your setup, and how you're going to finish it in terms of your setup, along with the fuel loads and tyre lives that you'll run, and then your run plan all come together to give you and your engineer the data that you need to try to maximise each part of the race weekend as it plays out.
And obviously it's been 2 months since the last race in Miami. That's a big old gap. How much preparation will be going on in the sim before coming into this race weekend in Barcelona?
A huge amount, and in fact the sim for Barcelona tends to be especially good, beyond how good it normally is purely for learning the layout of the venue, and that's because Barcelona is used as a baseline simulation for so many of the sims that are put together for the various teams. So it's laser scanned within an inch of its life, Barcelona. The bumps and curbs tend to be pretty well modelled, and you can actually get after it relatively well and understand the racetrack better. They'll all know the layout. They'll all know the layout, whether they've been on the simulator, whether they've been round here in other junior series, and they'll understand it relatively well. So that's a benefit to them. Several drivers will have been racing in other series as well. I know Karis Grimer's been out at the Nürburgring, various sports car series they've been jumping in and out of, and then any testing that they've done. So they're not going to be as rusty as one might think, but even still, you're quite correct. In race conditions, they've been out for a long time, and they're going to have to get their heads back in the game.
Yeah, I think Leah Block was trying to get a bit of extra single-seater practice in and did a race with Spanish F4. So hopefully that is going to help her in the performance of the car. I mean, we did see, actually, she did well in the last couple of rounds, but just a couple of mistakes. She did get caught up in an incident as well. Maybe doesn't correlate to the fact that she's only got 1 point so far this season.
Leah Block gave an interview where she said, I should be further up the field in terms of results. And I think that's fair as well in terms of the way that she's driven the car and the speed that she's had. I think she potentially kind of has underperformed in terms of results, even if she's overperformed in terms of her level of experience behind the wheel of a single-seater. But she will have, she definitely expects more out of herself through the rest of the year and has expressed that.
So we're now watching Chloe Chambers in the Haas car, and she has really proven her value this season. Of course, the last 4 races, she's made up 12 places, so a very capable driver, and of course had her first podium of the season in Miami, a home race for her and the team, a very special moment. And Campos Racing just seemed to be kind of enjoying a bit of an upward trajectory at the moment. But yeah, Chloe Chambers had some great battles, I think, with Hamda Alkabizi and Maya Vug, so it'll be exciting to see what she can do here in Barcelona.
In the championship so far, Chambers, the leading driver for Campos, has been a podium finisher throughout this year. Sits in 10th position at the moment, 9/10 back as the field continues to close up, despite the tyre clearly moving away. Been a bit messy at times, Chambers, throughout the year, I think, in terms of just having little off-track moments, but has tidied it up in recent times. It's having a tidy-ish session here. And it's going to be interesting to see what the American can do behind the wheel of that house this weekend. She'll be definitely wanting to qualify further up the grid than P11 this lap. Not an improvement so far, but certainly I think she finds herself in a decent position in the championship. 40 points to her name so far, and is in the hunt. She could easily walk away, couldn't she, in the top 3 of the championship from this weekend in Barcelona.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting looking down at the times at the moment. We've got Emily de Hausch there in the Red Bull. One of the, I think the only driver actually to have not scored. Oh, let's take a look at this.
Yeah, Chloe Chambers then coming in turn 5, gets a rear slide over the curb and just puts a wheel on the gravel as well, but also running over the green AstroTurf, which has 3 layers of white abrasion bumps over them, like small sleeping policemen. And just rumbles the car to let you know that you're on the edge of your track limit here. So it's designed for MotoGP to let you know you've touched the green, but MotoGP riders say you always know when you've touched the green. I might disappoint. I might disappoint by the fact that this could be one of the last times we ever come to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. Massively so, yes, because this place is the Spanish Grand Prix. Why we're going to a street circuit in Madrid, I don't know. This race last year was absolutely fantastic. People saying last year's race was boring. Last year's race was a strategy genius, and we've got rain coming here soon as well. But I'm going to interrupt myself because look at Abby Pulling and Bianca Bustamante. Now, we had this in Formula 1 at the Canadian Grand Prix with George Russell and Max Verstappen, but both Abby Pulling and Bianca Bustamante are separated by 0.000 of a second. So, it's a 1:42.474. Interesting. Hello to Quiet Bad Person, who says, hey there, that bridge looks awfully low over the track. That's coming down to turn 10, if I'm not mistaken. It is a bit low, isn't it? It's a new balcony area and bridge section that's designed that you can go over from one side of the circuit to the other, but also it's a new sort of restaurant area as well. So it's a combination of the two, and it does look incredibly low to the circuit, but we didn't notice it too badly in MotoGP, where they were worried about it. So it has cleared ground height, but I know what you mean, it does look a bit low. Apparently, I've been told it's the same height as other bankings at this circuit. So let's take a look at it coming down. Yeah, it does look a little bit low, but apparently it's still the same size, from what I've been told. Why are we going to street circuits? Ask the man himself, Stefano Domenicali, because Domenicali is killing Formula 1 slowly and slowly as well. Also, shameful of Alpine to bring Briatore back. We'll get on to this in practice 1 when we have everyone here, but my 2 pence here, yeah, I don't think Briatore deserves to be back in Formula 1. And it just doesn't make sense. You bring back the one person who... no, it's not right. But Flavio's back. That's going to be an interesting little factor, isn't it? 5 minutes to go. I'll be back in 2.
2 seasons of F1 Academy. So for some of these drivers, it will be the last time they get to do F1 Academy. So they really do have to maximise their potential here. This is the opportunity for them to showcase to the world what they can do to try and guarantee them a race seat in a different feeder series for next year. So it really is quite critical, a moment in these girls' careers.
Yeah, these drivers must be 16 or over, 25 or younger, and as you correctly say, no more than 2 seasons. This is a feeder series. This is not a destination formula. This is a move through, turn up to the F1 paddock, learn all about it. The clue's in the name, Academy. Show what you can do and then set off after your goals at the next level and then up into the mainstream feeder series. F1 have always been clear about that, haven't they? That it's what, and in some ways, trying to avoid issues that have potentially plagued other series where drivers are being held back by returning drivers coming to the series over and over and over again to reap the benefits of participation in those series, which then prevent new drivers from coming in and showing what they can do on equal footing against drivers of a similar experience level. I do wonder here in F1 Academy also if there will eventually be a limitation, as we have in Formula 2 and Formula 3, on outside competition and outside testing. I wonder if they'll go that route, or if they'll feel that actually at this stage of their career, drivers could use as much racing as they could possibly do. It's a difficult balance to strike that for rule makers, to keep the series fair and to keep the time on track fair between the competitors, but also not, you know, stunt their growth, if you like, by in racing terms, by disallowing them to compete in other formulas.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the amount of women that have raced in Formula 1 previously, the stats are pretty dire. 5 drivers, only 2 of which who actually managed to qualify for the race, Leila Lombardi and Maria Teresa De Filippi, both in the 70s, the 50s and the 70s. So it's been a long time since we've seen a female F1 driver, but
1992.
It's only time, it's a matter of time before things will very much change. So Lola Lobenfoss there on a push lap. Good sector 1 and sector 2 for her. Let's see how she can do against Abby Pulling. 2 seconds down, so more to give from her. So Abby Pulling at the moment is the time to beat with a 1:42.
Tina Houseman down into Campsa at turn 9. We are stepping out. She's well to hold that. Just gives it a tail whack. That's fantastic car control from Tina Houseman there. Car fully drifting off the racing line, over the white line, yes, but that could have snapped round it and thrown her into the barrier. Impressive car control there as we come less than 2 minutes to go in this F1 Academy practice session. Don't forget, we've got F2 and F3. F3 coming up next, then followed by F2. Then it's lunch break before F1 gets out this afternoon. And then F3, F2 qualifying, practice 2 for F1. Then it's F1 Academy qualifying at the end of the day. It does feel a bit different now. It feels like, yeah, even though I'm starting the F1 Academy day as well, it feels like the commentary box is going to have a lot more of a rotation because Megan's in here last, along with Jess, and then I leave. So, yeah, I'm done early today on the commentary front as well. And we're going to reassess next year. Yeah, next year I'm not going to be doing all of the support series of F2 or 3 because it just gets too much, doesn't it? You've got to give the voice a break. So there'll be weekends where I dip in and out of F2, F3. Focusing on every other series like Formula 1, MotoGP and all that lot. So yeah, I know it's already happening now, but it's like selected races where there's definitely no clashes. I won't be there to give myself a bit of a break to get up. Like this weekend, for instance, it's just the sports series. So next year, I'll be taking those off and sticking with F1. Leah Block P5 as the lights come on. Checkers are out. So Abby Pulling ends the F1 Academy practice session fastest on a 1:42.474. Matching that time is Bianca Bustamante, 1:42.474 as well. There's the flag. Waved emphatically by a female marshal, which is brilliant to see. Absolutely love the checker flags. As you can tell behind me. Is pinned back 100%? Getting there. She's getting there. She's been medically cleared to drive. and is racing in 10th, but we'll see what she's like in qualifying in the race before we give a final assessment. Tina Houseman again, as I'm yawning, off at 3. Rear tyre's gone. She's so annoyed at herself, punching the steering wheel as well. But the tyres are dead, so don't worry, Tina. The car's fine. Abby pulling fastest as they'll come in for the end of the session. Checker flag's been taken by everybody now. Two in the pits. Not a bad opening session, that one. Very good for the day.
Going to be tough if they can't keep hold of it through the race distance. I think potentially we'll see some more errors as a result of that through the race distances. Houseman there with a lot of work to do in getting that rear end to work for through the race in terms of left rear tyre.
How much can we read into the fact that Diane Pan is P10 at the moment?
I think she'll be reading a lot into it. I think we should read less. Yeah, obviously something to work on. Maybe she didn't quite get the lap in as early as she might like. Maybe she's working more in terms of race pace, but it's not great, that's for sure. I'm sure she would have liked to have been much closer to the pace, especially with a championship battle to undertake, and especially with Abby pulling out front again in the Alpine liveried machine. So, yeah, Pan with work to do, and there'll be head scratching going on for sure.
So far in the 4 races that we've had, it has been Diane Pan on pole twice and Abby pulling on pole twice. So the big question for you, Alex, is who's going to be on pole here at the Barcelona Catalunya?
Anyone's guess. I mean, in terms of the way the circuit will be after we've had Formula 3 practice, Formula 2 practice, F1 practice, it's almost a different venue. So one of the biggest factors for the teams and drivers will be not to overreact to how the racetrack is now. Pulling's always a good bet, but it's close up front. Maybe it's Bustamante's day to be on pole position. It's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. And so often it's all about execution around here. Who can actually get the lap together, because they know it so well. It is so close, and the teams are right on top of the cars.
Yeah, Bianca Bustamante clearly riding on from that momentum with that second place finish that she had last time out in race 2 in Miami. And you know, we did hear from her earlier in the weekend, and she did sound just very positive, very focused, and really content with how her season's been going at McLaren. And actually, she really does credit the team at McLaren, the support she's getting back at base, and everyone on the ground here in the paddock. So clearly, mentally, she's in a great place, and we're starting to see that come through in the first session of the weekend already.
Just looking down at the paddock here, it's reminded me when I was there back in 2019 testing. Just looking around, I know every inch of that paddock. I know walking up, I know where everything is, and it's just lovely having this aerial view of the circuit right now. Just take a look as well, and seeing the city and where I stayed. Oh wow, it's quite nice actually. Nothing's changed around there. Nothing does. It's fantastic. Been a wonder actually, because effectively we're in an industrial estate where this circuit is built. It's in the middle of nowhere, in Montemelo. It's not even in the circuit. It's not even in Barcelona. It's not even we're in Montemelo as well, 15 minutes away from the centre of Catalonia, and then it's about 45 minutes away from the centre of Barcelona. The famous Las Ramblas. It's weird, when we come here, it's always weird to remember, oh yeah, I've been there. I've done that. I got on the plane, I went there, I did the testing, I know exactly what it's like being there. It always gets to me, really does. Hopefully I can go back soon. That'd be quite nice. Even if not for F1, for MotoGP as well. Okay, session over. Here's your full results then. It is pulling fastest from Bianca Bustamante in second, Amanda Alcabassi's third, Nira Marcy's fourth, Leah Block fifth, Jess Edgar sixth, Carrie Schreiner is seventh, Amanda Alcabassi is eighth, Aurora Nobles is in ninth, and Dorian Pin is in 10th. Chloe Chambers 11th, Fontina Houseman in 12th, Maria Wang is 13th, Emily G. Hughes 14th, and Lola Zanfossi is in 15th place. Join us later when F1 Academy returns for qualifying, and Jess will be back in the box from us all here. Thanks for your company. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.